All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however this video finds you. This is Beats by Lonze, and today we are talking about TV shows that I recommend that you should watch. Now, this television show that I'm going to talk about is called Game of Thrones. Now, let me tell you something. Out of all the television shows that I've watched over and over and over again, this is the only television show that I've watched for at least 5, 6 times. I watched it over and over and over and over and over again. Now, Game of Thrones ran 8 seasons. I know a lot of people talk about the reason that, the show ended or whatever, and that it was not as good as they thought it was going to turn out. But however, let me tell you, if you can sit through 8 seasons of a show and you never get disappointed for 8 seasons, all the way up until the 8th season, then you know that it's a good show. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Game of Thrones. Now, Game of Thrones is a show that I found on television while browsing television one day. I saw this episode where there was a giant wolf that this guy back in the back in those times, which was kind of like the medieval Great Britain kind of times. He was pulling baby cubs out of a wolf, and it was a huge wolf, like almost like a dinosaur wolf. And I was like, what kind of show is this? And as I watched it, I was like, okay, this show is actually pretty intriguing. So I rewinded it and I started from the beginning and I watched Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones is about 9 noble families that are trying to fight over control of this land called Westeros. And each of these 9 families are all claiming to be an heir to a throne or have blood heir or linkage to the throne or whatever. So that's the way that they are fighting over control of this kingdom. So whoever controls this one kingdom controls all of the kingdoms in the vicinity. Now, the crazy thing about this is that in these major cities, they connect to each other. And so they're able to go from one part of the city to get out of that one to go to another part. And then you'll be in a whole different place, going north, east, west, south, or whatever. And then the seasons change as they go through one place. So if they're like in the east, it may be summertime over there. But if they go south and they go through, they come out to that gate, now it's wintertime and it's snow. But there's a common theme across the show that says winter is coming. And you never know what winter is coming means. You think that it's just one of those things that, hey, that eventually the seasons change, winter is coming. You don't really know what winter is coming until they get what it means, until they get into the heat of the show and they show you what winter is supposed to happen, because they're supposed to be in this there's supposed to be an enemy that's supposed to be coming in the wintertime, and it hasn't been seen in thousands and thousands of years. But when it comes back, it's supposed to wipe out the whole humanity. Like, its main thing is to kill all men. And so they're like, while they're worrying about the Game of Thrones, there are people who are also worried about this common enemy that's supposed to come in the wintertime. So you got 9 houses. I'll name a few of them. You got House Targaryen, the Starks. You got the Greyjoys. You got the Lannisters. You got the Tarleys. You got a whole bunch of families out there. So those houses are all the ones who are fighting, and they have to intermingle and interchange. And it is an incredible show. Now, I'll tell you, my character that I enjoyed the most out of this whole place was actually Jon Snow. And Jon Snow, I won't get into who Jon Snow is, but I will tell you that Jon Snow was one of my favorite characters of the show. So I think y'all are really gonna enjoy this show. There's a whole lot of people that are like big fans that go and dress up for Game of Thrones. There are people that go to the video cons and all things like that to dress up like the characters. So it is a huge ordeal. Like, even me, I was a big Game of Thrones fan. Like, when this book came out, I bought 2 copies of it. I bought one copy for my friend who was also a Game of Thrones. They love Game of Thrones, and I bought one for myself. And this is, well, I should put this in some plastic and keep this because this is a pretty great book that describes, it's a guide to everything Game of Thrones. Now, I know what you're thinking. Game of Thrones has been out 10 years, maybe. I don't remember when it came out, but it's been out a long time. So, you should be over with the show. Nah, I think that I'm probably going to go back and watch this show again because I love this show. I did not read the books. Now, there's a whole bunch of books made by Mr. George Martin. Is that his name? Yeah, George R. Martin. He has a couple books about Game of Thrones, and I was told previously that people don't really like the show because it don't go off of the books. But I think the show did an incredible job of whatever. If the show is as good as they say the books are, then I'm happy with seeing a visual representation of the show on TV versus reading it in a book. Like putting a actual body and a face to a person rather than trying to imagine what it is. It's way, way, way better than reading it in a book, in my opinion. So, you got dragons, you got queens, you got kings, you got mythical swords, you got magic, you got sex, you got all the stuff that probably that all the things that make up a good television show is actually in this particular show. It has fighting, it has everything, it has good drama, everything that you'd like to see in a show. So if you want to be entertained and you're into folklore and you're into magic and you're into, love stories and drama and dragons and fire, this will be a great show for you to watch. Again, Beats by Lonze again, reviewing TV shows that you should watch. And my favorite television show of all time is Games of Thrones. So stay tuned next time to see what we talk about of TV shows that I recommend that you should watch. Again, Beats by Lonze. We out of here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Love y'all. Peace.